Ready?
It's loading. Give us.
I'll start with the announcements, okay? I'd like to start with some announcements before we open the meeting. Well, actually, you tell me when it's on. It's the first announcements regarding the video. All right. So for everybody attending, bathrooms are through the foyer doors there. Emergency exit is behind you, or you can go through the door there. If you haven't already, please sign the white attendance sheet on the podium in the back of the meeting room. This meeting is available live stream via the Diligent Community platform. Please note the chat feature is not monitored. Public comment is accepted in person. A link to the video will be posted to the Diligent Community website next week. This is a business meeting. The board asks you for your cooperation to maintain quorum. Please be considerate and refrain from interrupting board members and other speakers. Also, to improve the quality of sound, there's a boom mic right there. So anything you say in the vicinity of that camera will be transmitted and captured for posterity. And we also have a microphone over here for public comment. And we'll be standing on the X for that. Is the camera rolling?
It will be once I get disconnected.
Yeah.
Origami.
Basically done.
Hey, the roads are going to be really clear when you go home tonight.
That's right. It'll be knowing. It'll be 27
wait
minutes
until we,
or something like that.
Warren, wait until we make sure it's on.
Just booting up.
What's 5 minutes in 5 hours? I mean,
You know when you're ready.
This one? If I'm in the view, just the view that, I don't know what it says to it.
Kyle, you good to go?
Almost.
We're having some technical issues with the internet.
We have technical issues, but you're saved by the,
Saved by the technical difficulties. If you want to.
Randy, are you saving that seat for anyone? John, are you saving that seat for anyone?
We're gonna let the Kemper team will wait until called upon.
There's a seat up in front.
Is it in the right spot, Kyle? On my side?
Doesn't.
Is it live for you?
Oh, I was just showing you, like, this is the view of the public seats, so it doesn't, this,
Any luck? All right. For those watching tonight's meeting via Diligent Community, the meeting is available live stream via the Diligent Community platform. Please note the chat feature is not monitored. Public comment is accepted in person. A link to the video will be posted to the Diligent Community website immediately following this evening's meeting. Now, if you're listening at home, to improve the sound while listening to the meeting, first, turn up the volume on your computer and turn up the volume on Diligent Community. If you turn up both volumes, you'd have no problem hearing us. The meeting packet for tonight's meeting is located on the Diligent Community website. Already made the other announcements. So, I'd like to call to order the April 27th, 2023 regular board meeting at 6:05 p.m. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Archambault?
Here.
Commissioner Lesson?
Here.
Commissioner Rapp?
Here.
Commissioner Root?
Here.
Commissioner Seaman?
Here.
Commissioner Koto?
Here.
Commissioner James?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Are there any changes to the agenda?
May I make a suggestion under new business? If the board is so predisposed, could we talk about the discussion of opening Elder Beach for the summer, this summer in front of 9.1 and 9.2?
Why?
Why? Because there's great interest to open the
It's
beach.
9.3. So I object to the change of agenda.
It's a motion. Is there a second? Or, I mean, it's a. Does anyone know opine? Okay. Keep it as is. All right.
Roll call.
Nope, we always change this to the agenda. Financials. May I have a motion to approve the March 2023 financials?
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
Thank you, Warren. For the end of March 31st, 2023, the Park District is reflecting an operating surplus of a negative $206,392. This is a timing issue, nothing more. Traditionally, we receive our first allotment of tax revenue in March. Because of the delay last year, tax collections were delayed until early April. So we are receiving the tax revenues in April rather than in March, which explains this operating surplus or deficit, as the case may be. Otherwise, things are on track. Are there any questions?
Questions on the financials?
I just have one question. How's the audit going?
The audit's going well. I spoke to the audit. I was going to touch on that in
Perfect.
staff
Carry on.
reports.
Carry on.
Thank you.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Commissioner Lesson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rapp?
Yes.
Commissioner Root?
Yes.
Commissioner Seaman?
Yes.
Commissioner Archambault?
Yes.
Commissioner Koto?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
That motion passes.
May I have a motion to approve the vouchers for $804,432.27 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. James. This is pretty straightforward. A couple of things I do want to point out. Capital projects are going to see a balance of $214,138.31. The vast majority of that is a little over $212,000 for the Nick Horrell Park rehabilitation and reconstruction. We still have some money in reserve for the finishing of the coping wall. Is that correct, Costa? Is that terminology?
Yeah, we have retainage left on the project, 10% to close out the project with a remainder of $22,417.65 to complete that. The initial project, as proposed with the original base bid of $203,458.30, did incur some additional change orders due to some ADA access with some cross slopes, underlayment fabric, and resetting the pavers that we needed to do to become in compliance with that. Unfortunately, those were unforeseen issues until we started the renovation and actually removed the equipment and found that the underdrains, we had issues with that. We had issues with the fabric as well as the slopes to be able to meet the grade for ADA. So we did incur some change orders, bringing the overall project total to $234,955.96. So we did wind up going over. We did not build a contingency into that project, but those were the items that we had to address to get that completed. The coping for the project, which is the top of the limestone for the seat wall that goes around the sand pit, is due to be finished next week. and we'll have that playground open 100%, the goal is by next weekend.
Very good.
It's like a 10%, so if you had had a 10% contingency, that would have been.
A little more than 10%, yeah, but pretty close. If we
Park
had
looks
15.
great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Park's fabulous.
Yep,
Thank you.
D&J did a nice job.
Any other questions on the vouchers? Roll call?
Commissioner Rack,
Yes.
Commissioner Root,
Yes.
Commissioner Seaman,
Yes.
Commissioner Archambault,
Yes.
Commissioner Lesson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kodo,
Yes.
Commissioner James.
Yes.
That motion passes.
All right, we're moving on to remarks from visitors. There will be two opportunities tonight. Remarks from visitors is your opportunity to address the board on any issue. When called upon, please come to the center position in front of the commissioners and stand on the X, the taped X. Please speak clearly or use the microphone. State your name for the record and speak directly to the board. Please keep all comments under 3 minutes. And note, this is not a question and answer forum, so please do not expect a response or answer from the park board this evening. If you prefer to share your comments in writing, you may use the comment cards, which are available near the sign-in sheet, and any park district staff will accept your card to be shared with the board. Who would like to speak first? You gotta turn it on.
Is this okay? Okay. Good evening. I'm Angie Dahl.
I think you gotta hold it down.
I'm Angie Dahl. I've been a resident of the Winnetka Park District for over 40 years. During that time, I have served several terms as a commissioner of the Park District. Additionally, I've had the honor of serving as board president. As I prepared my remarks for you this evening, I made a diligent effort to be respectful of your 3-minute guideline. Should I exceed that, I thank you in advance for your professional courtesy in allowing a former board president to complete her statement. $21.25 million. In 2022, I appeared before this board on numerous occasions. I requested the board to provide information with respect to the Elder Centennial improvements. Specifically, I asked the board to provide the public with the estimated cost for the project, the sources of funding for the costs of the project, and the board's analysis of several less expensive alternative plans for the development of Elder Centennial, which were provided to the board by well-qualified residents. I received no response from the board to any of these requests. Understandably, I and other taxpayers were frustrated by the lack of response and the lack of transparency on the part of the board. A number of Winnetka residents submitted FOIA requests to try to find out what was going on. Other residents tried to obtain information by reviewing the board's minutes of prior meetings. However, those minutes did not exist and were not prepared and filed in accordance with requirements of the Open Meetings Act. I had to go so far as to register a complaint with the Attorney General of the state of Illinois regarding the Park District's failure to provide minutes in a timely fashion. Ultimately, the Attorney General sent a formal notice to the Park Board advising it that it was indeed in violation. However, because the Park Board had ultimately and reluctantly complied with the Open Meetings Act, the Attorney General did not take any disciplinary action. Now at long last, we know why the board has been so secretive, so unwilling to be forthcoming, and so utterly lacking in transparency. The board has now announced that the probable costs of construction for the Elder Centennial project are a staggering $21.2 million. This has to be compared to the total annual operating budget of the Winnetka Park District, which is $24 million. The estimated costs for the Elder Centennial project are obviously and totally unacceptable. Tonight you are being asked to consider several motions which relate to the Elder Centennial project. This project has been and continues to be divisive and controversial throughout the entire community. No doubt the ultimate price tag for taxpayers who are just now becoming aware of this expense will be unprecedented and excessive. At the last board meeting, a commissioner forcefully stated that caucus surveys overwhelmingly indicated support for the plan from thousands of residents. That commissioner encouraged residents to review surveys and comments to better understand community support for the board's position and to explain the board position that its actions were consistent with the caucus mandate. However, a thorough analysis of all surveys and comments from 2015 to the present does not, in fact, support that position. No survey mentioned the combination of lakefront properties nor making changes to their existing uses. In reviewing 8 years of surveys, there were 10 total comments in favor of the lakefront plan. This is vastly outnumbered by the thousands of residents who have signed petitions and continue to appear before you to speak out against it. The board has still not provided a description with respect to the funding sources for the project. The board has still not indicated whether it has ever compared or analyzed the alternative, less expensive plans for this project, which were provided by well-qualified residents. The taxpayers of the Winnetka Park District deserve better stewardship from an elected board. Before taking any further action of any kind with respect to the Elder Centennial Project, it should afford this community a fair opportunity to absorb and consider the cost of this project. At a minimum, the board should defer any action on the Elder Centennial Project for at least 1 month and until the new board is seated. If you refuse this modest request to give residents and taxpayers a month to consider the costs of this project, then this board is communicating that it really is committed to a lack of transparency and an avoidance of accountability. Thank you.
Here you go.
Good evening.
Speak up there.
Can't hear me?
Louder, please.
The board has forged ahead with the proposed Elder Centennial Plan, and the financial impact to the Winnetka Park District taxpayers keeps growing. It appears that the Winnetka Park District is not able to finance this project without affecting other activities in the district. Many citizens have objected to parts of the proposed plan, and certainly to the giving, selling, or trading the southern portion of Centennial Park. Many have objected to the grandiose proposal that has been presented. Many have objected to the lack of transparency, the loss of riparian rights, Elder Beach not reopening, large boulders jetting into our lake, and views hindered by oversized boulders in the water. Other objections have been the green space lost to a proposed parking area to accommodate twice as many vehicles as exist today. Approximately 135 spaces the way I figure it on round numbers, and there are 72 parking spaces today. There are objections to the additions of a large paved driveway to the bluff's edge and down to the bluff at Elder. This paved surface cuts into the very life of the green space in Elder Lane Park. On the drawing that I have seen, it says that this will be removed after construction. I now do not believe that statement. A passive park for all is being completely changed to a very active park that will impact the serenity of what exists today. The future Elder Centennial Plan will drag on as a financial burden for our park district and for the taxpayers. Financially speaking, I keep questioning, why is the park district not hired an outside grant writer to help financially with this project? The staff and commissioners should be storming Springfield for financial help at the lakefront. There are parameters to be followed when accepting a grant, but taxpayers and the district both benefit. In 2022, OSLED grant money was awarded to 24 districts in Cook County. Most districts were awarded near $500,000. The total grants awarded was almost $60 million. And it was all for Park District projects. 2 new commissioners are coming to this board at the end of the next month. And they will deal and have to deal with this financial mess that is being dumped upon them. If this board could not settle the existing issue, what magic will shine upon the next board? Allow the incoming board to bring new expertise and creative thought to this state, because it's a financially draining project. Do not trade or sell off Winnetka Park District's open space. Winnetka is a landlocked community. Lake Michigan and the natural parkland needs to remain as passive open space. Although I don't always agree with Commissioner Archambault and Commissioner Seaman, I thank you for your time that you've spent serving the Winnetka Park District.
Kyle, is there any way to, that's awfully bassy. Is there any way to turn up the,
So, Jim, right by your feet, there should be a bass knob.
Here you go.
turn up the treble? Hold on.
I'm not gonna start till you give me the okay.
I don't know, it's hard to hear.
It's really good, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard for the people.
Susie, can you speak, please?
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Turn on.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Mr.
Little better.
Peterson?
Yeah.
Excuse me for interrupting. Do you think we could bring in some